Recap/teaser. I came from a world of orders and light, sent down while the skies tore open. The Holy Scriptures had warned of this time, the end of days, and I was given one mission that mattered above all: find and free a 13-year-old girl held deep in the enemy's grip. She is small, but the truth whispers that she will become a key in the war to come. I move across ruined cities, deserts, and shattered temples, confronting henchmen of a dark force and the wild riders who herald doom. This is a survival story, a desperate rescue, and a test of faith in a world collapsing. Stay with me. I will tell you how the hunt unfolded and the choices that had to be made, but I will not tell you how everything ends. Chapter 1: Descent into Ruin. They called me down with a command that tasted like iron and flame. I did not question the tone. I was 30, forged in purpose, a warrior cast into flesh and bone for a planet that was burning through a prophecy. God's voice did not come as words on that first night. It came as conviction. Go, find the child, save her at all costs. That I pierced the smoke of a shattered city and landed on a rooftop with my boots thudding through grit. The sky looked like scripture torn apart. The four horsemen rode beyond the horizon, as if they were driving the sun itself toward an early death. I gripped the M4 and felt the weight of both weapon and mission. In a world where angels wore armor and fought with tools of war, I learned to trust my hand and my aim. The first night was chaos. Streets were clogged with overturned cars and the groans of the lost. Henchmen of another will, men and things that owed allegiance to a darker power, stalked the alleys. I moved in the shadow of a frozen clock tower, listening for information. A sliver of paper, a child's drawing tucked beneath rubble, told me she had been taken into the Undercity. The hunt had begun. Chapter 2: The Horsemen's Roads. They rode through deserts and stadiums, across bridges and forests, the horsemen as inevitable as ruin itself. Wherever they passed, fields burned and halls emptied. I tracked their wake through ash and rumor. Survivors spoke in hushed, rushed breaths. The sky bled colors it shouldn't have, and thunder sounded like horns. That I slipped into a ruined cathedral and watched henchmen plan and barter. Their leader wore a mockery of a crown and smirked while a ledger listed names like inventory. Children were a line in that ledger. My task was precise. My fury could be harnessed. I took what evidence I could: maps, names, a crudely drawn map that pointed toward the old industrial quay where captives were held. Every path I followed led closer to her. Every fight tightened the cord of purpose inside me until it hummed like a taut wire. There were skirmishes where I learned the texture of this enemy: savage, cunning, and not entirely human. I fired my rifle until the muzzle burned my palms, each round an oath. The world around us fell into lines of prophecy, and I walked them as if they were roads to judgment. Chapter 3: The Prison Below. The Undercity smelled of metal and old life. Rusted cages, flickering lamps, and the echo of chains created a prison of sound. I watched from a crane that had once lifted containers at a port now turned to a fortress. Through a slit in a control room I saw her, small, gaunt, hands bound, but with eyes that still held a stubborn light. Her captors thought her quietness was a sign of brokenness. They were wrong. She hummed to herself in a voice too small for the space, and it was the kind of song that made the air feel less poisoned. She had been kept where the ledger indicated, a stack of steel cages deep beneath the city. I rigged the old crane to give myself an entry and moved in with the quiet of one who had been trained in silence. The raid was fast and brutal. I took the control room and silenced the guards with precise bursts that shattered complacency. The alarms screamed like dying birds, but so did the engines in my chest. When I finally turned the key and pushed open the cell, the shadow stepped into the strip of light. She looked smaller than the picture I had found, fragile and fierce in the same breath. Chapter 4: Fire and Rescue. Rescue was never neat. Noise became the language of survival. Henchmen poured into the compound like spilled oil catching flame. I moved with a careful ferocity, pulling her close, guiding, defending. She shoved at my chest once with fierce small hands, asking if I was one of them. I told her I was sent to take her home. She spat a laugh that tasted of ash and resilience. That we fought our way up through shipping containers and over cranes bending under sudden weight. At one point, I had to carry her while the bridge behind us collapsed into steel and smoke. She clung to me as if she could hold herself together by force of grip alone. The horsemen's distant horns sounded like approaching thunder. We were racing against an approaching end. On a narrow rooftop, with stars swallowed by city smoke, I saw the line of our path. The world below moaned and shifted. For a moment, she allowed herself to be small and frightened. I told her stories I had never said out loud, of mercy, of the orders I kept, and that sometimes even warriors needed to let fear shape them into something better. She listened. For the first time in days, she slept in my arms. Chapter 5, Across the Wasteland. We did not stop running. Even after the cages fell behind us, the ground ahead smelled of change and threat. Entire highways had become columns of refugees walking away from cities that had imploded under prophecy. Survivors held onto each other and their small bowls of food, as if those things could be preserved against the tides. That I learned her story in fragments. How she had been swept up by a raid for reasons she could not explain. How she had a way of seeing patterns that comforted the elderly and scared the cruel. People around us began to realize she was not merely a rescued child. There were eyes that watched with interest, and not all interest had good motives. That we sheltered briefly on a shoreline where ships lay like broken teeth. Survivors painted hopeful slogans on shards of metal. She painted a small handprint on a wall of survivors' names, and then tucked a scrap of scripture into the pocket of my vest as if to anchor us both. The world beyond still burned, but we had found a fragile pocket of humanity to stand in. Chapter 6, The Road Ahead. There was no grand ending on that road. The mission I had been given, save the child, had reached a strong and simple completion the moment the chains fell away. I had carried out the command with conviction and steel. But the sky was full of omens, and the horsemen still rode. The city bells were mute, and the prophecies continued their slow execution. She stayed by my side. In small towns and broken temples, survivors looked to her and to me with a mix of hope and fear. She is thin but unbroken, with a stare that promises consequence. I felt the shape of a larger battle taking form. She would grow into the role the scriptures hinted at, and I, a soldier who once moved alone, found myself the keeper of a charge that would not let me rest. As we walked into the valley where smoke and light intertwined, and the riders still passed like thunderclouds, I began to understand what the voice had meant beyond the single order. The rescue was only one thread in a larger tapestry, one that had been unrolling across an earth that would not finish yielding its final chapters anytime soon. I was sent to save her. That was done. What would come next was not mine to command, but I would stand ready as long as breath and bones served me. Final recommendation: if you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, give the video a like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share the video with others.